Hey there, Cancer, and welcome to your week of June 17th, 2021, 2022 jumpins. Jeez, never going to get used to that, but this is your general reading for the week of January 17th, 2022. We're going to start things off over here on the left with your energy coming into this week. We got the Empress, the Ten of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. So what we're looking at here is you in a very good mindset here. With the Empress, just abundance, really channeling that at this time. I feel like you're drawing abundance to you. If you're not experiencing that right now, it's sort of you're in the right mindset, or you're soon to be in the right mindset of really having this like infinite energy to draw upon, really knowing that a bountiful harvest is awaiting you at this time. I love that. I love with the Empress here as well. You can see her crown. She's got the 12 stars on here. That's almost like the 12 signs of, or the 12 signs of the zodiac. It can be, but it can also represent the 12 months in the year. And I feel like that's especially telling with the way last year went. I feel like last year might have been a big transformative year for you, or maybe it was a big time, like a big year, maybe not necessarily transformative, but maybe a very good learning year, or a year of like hardships or planting the seeds for what you're going to reap this year, which I think is beautiful. We also have the Ten of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles here too. The Seven of Pentacles really talks about hard work, making sure you're staying the course. Sometimes it can make you wonder if you're, whether you're not, you should be calling it or not right now. Like, should you just harvest now, just accept what you got because you don't think you're going to get any more out of it, or feeling like maybe this is as far as this will take me, so maybe just call, quit while I'm ahead, that sort of thing. So you could be in that kind of an energy as well. Like, I feel like you're in a really abundant energy and we're heading towards that big harvest. So I feel like you're on time with things. It may not seem that way, may not feel that way, but I feel like if you just hold out a little bit longer, you're going to get that bountiful harvest. So I think that's beautiful as well. And with the Ten of Swords here, I feel like you're not letting negativity sort of affect you at this time, because the Ten of Swords talks about something ending abruptly. So I feel like this is sort of you ending negativity abruptly, or ending sort of self-doubt and such abruptly, which is great. Snip that stuff in the bud, because that really sucks. Really get rid of that kind of mentality, that kind of stuff, because that can really kind of affect you as you go on. So let's take a look and clarify your energy here before we move on to your challenges and see what's happening with them as well. All right, and let's see what we got for you, Cancer. What do we have? We've got Temperance, the Two of Swords, and the Judgment card. I like that. Temperance is Sagittarius' card, so you may have Sagittarius in your chart. You might be dealing with the Sagittarius this week as well. I hope that didn't pick up the mic. It just had like a hiccup sort of prelude there. But we got Temperance, Judgment, and the Two of Swords here. Temperance talks about being balanced. You want to live in harmony, being open-minded and experimental as well. So that's really nice here with that abundant energy you have going on with this. Is really telling me that you're willing to look at new possibilities and try experimenting. For instance, we talk about a big harvest. Did you know that like farmers, they will rotate their crops every now and again? And that is because if the land gets too used to a particular type of a particular type of plant or whatever it grows there, it will eventually like get too used to it and the ground won't be as fertile. But if they rotate their crops, it doesn't have time to get used to it. So it ends up being like the crops are about the same all the time, which is great. I don't know how true that is for everything, but I do know that they do rotate some crops like that. But that's that kind of mindset of this harvest. I feel like you're willing to experiment and be open-minded here at this time, which is great. And with the Judgment card and the Two of Swords here, there's a decision that you're going to commit to as well here. With the Two of Swords, it talks about, do you stay or do you go, right? There's these new lands here in the distance for you that you could open your mind up to if you were willing to experiment, willing to go out and chase those down. And so you could go with that, or you could stay put as well. Like this person's perfectly content to stay put with their blindfold on too. So, that's the choice you got to make. Twos in tarot represent choices. So those options are there to you. But with the Judgment card, Judgment talks about a decision, like you're committing to a decision you've made, right? It's almost as if your mind has made this decision and now you're taking the action to commit to it. So I feel like there's some sort of choice either coming up very soon for you or has recently come to pass where you've decided like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I think for a lot of you, it's that commitment to open-mindedness. So I'm liking that. So let's take a look and Let's see what we got for some potential challenges here for you. All right, Cancer, see what's happening there too. Okay, what kind of challenges do we got for our Cancerians this week? Got the Five of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Hierophant here coming for your challenges. So the Five of Swords will tell us that you're maybe a little too focused on something right now, maybe a little too focused on the end goal here. I like that you're being open-minded. Maybe you're going to experience some tunnel vision. Like, we're leading into this week being very open-minded and such, but maybe you're going to hit on one idea that you're really kind of like, this is a winner, you know, winner, winner, chicken dinner, right? And you might be thinking, this is what I should be going with. So just beware of that. Remember to consider all possibilities. Try not to get too focused in on something. But the Five of Swords can also tell us that you may be potentially focusing a little too much on victory. Like, maybe not necessarily a particular path, but the outcome, right? Instead of enjoying things here. Like the Nine of Pentacles is here almost saying we're neglecting to stop and smell the roses, right? This person is just kind of enjoying everything that's going on in their life at this time. So that might be saying that to you. Hello, Spike. Speaking of someone who loves to enjoy the scenery, Spike has arrived. Journey's over here on the other side, just casually watching as things go down. But here we are. You know, I feel like you're kind of ignoring the sort of the journey, no pun intended with my cat here, but you're kind of ignoring that as things are going by. You're kind of ignoring the journey, the things, the experiences along the way, not just the outcome, right? We also have the Hierophant here. I feel like there's a lesson to be learned, but you may not be so sure what it is here. It could also be saying that with the Hierophant, you might be dealing with a Taurus this week, or you may have Taurus in your chart because this is their card. So you might be dealing with a Taurus, might have Taurus in your chart. This could be someone who's coming in, maybe a professor type person, or a teacher of some sort, or someone who trains people at, you know, jobs and things like that, or maybe someone who even just does like online courses, maybe like a tarot reading course or something. I know Minnow Pond Tarot, he does a course like that, right? So something like that. It could be anyone in that realm of possibility. You could be looking to learn from them. Maybe that's what this is saying, is like you need to kind of learn, because learning will help you on the way to the end, like what you want here, but it also is part of the journey of going through something, of like experiencing something and, you know, enriching your life that way. So we're going to take a look at clarifiers for your challenge cards. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. We got a pop out here for you, Cancer. Appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all the love and support. I'm sending love and support out to you too. At the end of the video, we're going to tie everything off with an oracle card as well, so you're going to want to stick around for that. We got too many cards popping out with that one, unfortunately. But let's take a look and see what we got here. What do we have for Cancer's clarifiers? All right, we got the King of Cups already. We got the Two of Cups. And we got the Hierophant again, clarifying itself. Very interesting. So that's always a important thing to make note of, is when a card pops up in a reading twice, that it's a strong message. When it's clarifying itself, like the Hierophant is clarifying itself here, that's a really strong message. That's telling us that this is definitely the main thing to pay attention to here, is that potential Taurus that you might be dealing with this week, or to also be paying attention to, you need to learn. You know, you need to be taught something, and not necessarily like you need to be taught a lesson, you know, not like that, but more of like you need to learn. There's some lesson to be learned here about your life, about experiences, about the situation going on right now, or what you've kind of experienced up to this point. There's something to be taken away from this. And I feel like, again, it might be a bit of something to do with that, you know, enjoying life, enjoying the process more than the end goal, right? Really focusing down on that. So I like that a lot. We got the Two of Cups here. Again, remember we talked about twos here with the Two of Swords, choices to be made. So that's still kind of looming here in front of you. So I feel like this, maybe early in the week, this is going to be presented to you, some sort of choice. And now here, you're still kind of struggling with it as the week or the future goes on. Tarot is a bit timeless. So, you know, I can say like it's going to be this week. It might be just presented to you this week, but not resolved for a couple of weeks, right? It just might take that much time for some people, and, you know, less time for others. But yeah, again, there's that choice being presented here. With the Two of Cups, though, it can't talk about like a soulmate type person where it's in your challenges here. It could be something that might be something that's really on your mind. Maybe love is kind of on your mind. I know I used to know someone and he dated a girl who was very much like, let's just like rush to the end, right? Because he had gotten out of a relationship, or she had just gotten out of a relationship before she started dating him, where she almost got married. And so she was still kind of in that mode of like, I want to settle down. Like, I don't want to start again. And she kind of just tried to rush things. So that might be something you need to kind of keep on your mind, is like, let's not, these kind of things aren't to be rushed. They need to take time. So that might be something you need to keep in mind here as well. And with the King of Cups here, I feel like your emotions might be a little bit out of calm here because the King of Cups generally is someone who is very calm, cool, and collected at this time here, especially with how things are kind of going here. Like, I feel like you're very open-minded, and like we're talking about, very open-minded, very much willing to experiment, and there's some sort of decision looming here. I feel like you might be experiencing extremes at this time, where you might be, extremely happy at one point and then turn around and feel like you might be very mood swingy this week. That happens to me too. Don't worry about it. It happens to everybody. I know there's some days I do a reading here and I'll be like, that was a great reading. That was so awesome. And then there's other days I'll do one and I'm like, that was shit. That was so bad. I was just rambling the whole time. So, like, it happens to everybody. So don't worry about that. That's just a part of life. But yeah, I feel like more importantly here, there's a decision to be made here about something and some sort of lesson to be learned here. So let us take a look at your potential outcomes, see what we got, and then we'll clarify them and then tie everything off with an oracle card. So hopefully this has been resonating. I hope you stick around for the full message, because sometimes something resonates a little later on too, even if it doesn't initially kind of click with you. So we got Zowoldo. Oh, there's a lot of cat hair. Jeez, you boys. Jeez. We got the World, the Knight of Cups, and the Three of Wands here in your potential outcomes. So I like that a lot. The World, Zowoldo, is all about a big time completion, right? And we kind of talked a bit about that with the Empress, how she represents kind of traveling through like her crown. The 12 stars represents each month of the year, and that can kind of be a big completion, like a whole year has passed. That's a big time thing that's come to here. And the World kind of represents a big time completion as well, in terms of more of something you've been working towards, right? You've been really working towards something here. And we're talking about that a bit too with your goals here with the Five of Swords. Oh, pardon me, I got the hiccups. Jumping. With the Five of Swords here, sort of talking about being focused on the end results here. I feel like that conclusion is coming. Like, it is for sure coming. We just need to be patient here with the Three of Wands, because the Three of Wands talks about waiting for your ships to come in. You can see, maybe you can't see so well, but there are these little ships in the ocean here in front of this person as they're standing on this cliff, and they have to be patient. Like, they don't know where the ships are. They don't know when their ships are coming in, but they are patiently waiting. So I feel like that is something you're going to have to be careful of this week and in the future, is to be, patient. Don't try to force things. We did talk a bit about that with the Two of Cups too, right? My friend's old girlfriend he used to date, who she really just wanted to get married and settle down, even if it meant starting a new relationship and just forcing things along, right? You got to be patient. You can't force stuff like that. It just has to run its course. And again, I feel like maybe that is a lesson you need to learn, is to be a little more patient. Or maybe a lesson you need to take is to like slow it down, because we also have the Knight of Cups here, who is the second slowest knight in the deck. He does very much take his time, much like all the other knights. Speaking of someone who doesn't take the time, look at this rude Kai. That rude cat jumping in the way here. What a guy. What a cat. Anyhow, we're just talking about being patient. He could have waited till we were done here, but he couldn't. He just couldn't be bothered. But what we talk about with the Knight of Cups is that he's willing to move towards this river. He's going to cross this river, and on the other side is everything he wants. Like all of what's in this cup is his dreams, his ideas, these things he wants to achieve. And on the other side of the river is where that comes from, is where it is, the source of this. So that's what he's trying to achieve here. He's trying to cross this river and find those things he wants in his life. So I feel like you kind of need to be patient, because wading through rivers, sometimes the water is very harsh and flowing very, very quickly, and you have to kind of slow down, make sure you have solid footing so you don't get swept away. By the same token, sometimes you step in the river and the water is very calm and you just cross without incident, right? So you have to be careful. You have to kind of test the waters, and you can see he's kind of hesitating, and maybe that's because the waters are too going too strongly and too quickly for him to even step foot into the water, because he knows he'll be instantaneously swept away no matter how strong his footing is here. So again, you just kind of, like we're talking about patience, slowing it down here, right? We're not going to a crawl, but we're slowing things down. Just kind of let them kind of go naturally, right? We don't want to drag it out, but we are going to let it kind of take its course. Maybe wait for the water to slow down, wait for that river to come to a still here so you can cross more easily, even though it does take a little more time here. And that's part of that open-mindedness. I feel like you can, this is here, right? The Temperance cards tell us to be open-minded and flexible. I feel like you have that in you. It's just kind of right now you might be a little too focused. Like it's right there, like it's right across the river. It's right there, and it's kind of like I just want to go. Like come on, but at the same time you don't want to get swept away either, because that would also mean you have to start over again, right? So let's take a look at these clarifiers for your outcome cards as well, Cancer. Hopefully this has been helping you out. Hopefully this has been resonating. But we got the Seven of Wands, the Death card, and the Six of Swords here. All right, I like that. I like this a lot. The Death card is the sign of Scorpio. So you may have Scorpio in your chart, might be dealing with a Scorpio this week as well. Lots of that water signs too, because the Knight of Cups and the King of Cups also represent you water signs. So that would be yourself, Scorpio, and Pisces. So pop it in there as well. So definitely, if you're dealing with anything, probably a Scorpio this week, or maybe another water sign, or again, maybe a Taurus too, or Sagittarius even. Could be anybody, general reading. But here we are, Death card talking about cycles coming to an end, things end and new things begin, right? The Death card isn't necessarily a physical death of something, but it is more of the figurative end to something and the beginning of another thing, because things don't just end, period, and we stop, right? It's not like a book where like there's a definitive end and then after this nothing else exists, especially if it's like the end of a series or it's like a one-off novel or something like that. There is more to be had here. Your journey is not over here. Cancer. I was going to call you Scorpio. Your journey does not end here, Cancer, right? So things are going to keep going. Same goes for the world. When the world comes, that's that big conclusion, right? But with the world, it's more, it does conclude and then something new begins, right? Again, things don't just stop definitively, right? Like we don't cease to exist after a certain point. That's actually something funny. I watch a wrestling video podcast and the guys talk about how they don't just stop existing once the guy who does the recording hits stop, right? They still have lives and stuff. It's like they don't just pop out of existence and only remanifest when the next podcast needs to be recorded. And I feel like that's kind of like you are moving on to something new here, which is beautiful with this Six of Swords as well, because the Six of Swords talks about being in choppy waters. Now they're flying here, but it does talk about being in choppy waters but heading to calm waters. For them, it's more turbulent, air, and we're heading into cooler, calmer, collected air, right? We're heading, there's rough winds we're dealing with now, but eventually we're going to be smooth sailing, smooth flying, right? So I like that a lot. Like, again, we were kind of talking about that. Be patient. Maybe you got to just weather the storm, right? And with the Seven of Wands, you got to defend your position, which again is being patient, right? There's a lot of patience, stand still, wait for things to take their course here in your reading. I'm seeing here, Cancer, because I was going to call you Pisces there. I don't know what is going on. Maybe you need to check those readings out as well after this one. But yeah, there's just a lot of we need to kind of wait. Just wait, kind of let things take its course. Don't overreact. Don't get emotional. Just wait for it to happen here and let things take their course. Let the cycles end. Let the conclusions happen, and just kind of be flexible. Not trying to really do too much here. Just kind of be flexible here, because I feel like there's a very, like with the twos here, there's very much tempting to be like, let's just force this, let's just kind of power through, and I feel like that's not going to work out so much. So we're going to tie this all off with an oracle card. Hopefully this has been helping me out. Hopefully this has been resonating with you, Cancer. Thank you so much for being here, for spending all this time with me. Even if this hasn't been resonating with you, I hope that things are going good for you and yours out there too. So let's take a look and tie this all off with an oracle card. We got the Deer Spirit, bring a gentle touch, and that's gentle, right? It's not forcing something. It's just kind of being like, yeah, no, that's okay. Take your time, do your thing. You got to be gentle with those around you. Sometimes people like myself, for instance, I really don't like being forced to do something. I prefer a little gentle goading, like, hey man, you should probably do this, or it'd be probably a good idea if you do that. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go, right? But I don't like being told like you have to do this by this certain time. you know, and get it done. That really doesn't jive with me so well, right? And that might be the same for this situation, I feel, is like you kind of have to be gentle and patient with it rather than trying to force it here. So I like that, Cancer. Hopefully that's helped you out. Hopefully that's resonated with you. You want to help out the channel, you can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you find me easier. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video, Cancer.